I forgot I changed the intro and I was supposed to start talking earlier. Hi, welcome. Welcome to the continuation of season 3 of the Nina Blanco podcast. I'm sorry it has been so stinking long since I've released a podcast episode. The last time was the end of Galentine's Day in February. And then I had a pretty busy summer. Stuff was changing at work, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, I got to do the podcast. I know, but it was a lot, as it always is. I feel like that's always my excuse. But I'm going to try. I mean, that's, I don't know, I guess New Year's resolution for 2025 starting now, that I'm going to try to be better about being just like more on time and more of a schedule on the podcast so I don't leave you hanging for nearly a year. It's been like 9 months. So I don't want to do that anymore because I do enjoy doing the podcast. I do enjoy releasing episodes, hearing from everyone, connecting with people through the podcast. It's something special and I don't want to lose that, and I want to nurture it, and I want to be better at paying attention to that. I want you to pay attention to me, but I also want to pay attention to you. How about that? So welcome to the continuation of season 3. We are going to keep going with the Breakfast Burrito Friday song. You know what it is. It's Breakfast Burrito Friday. Get your burrito. Get your breakfast burrito. It's Breakfast Burrito Friday. Get your breakfast burrito. It's Breakfast Burrito Friday. Happy Breakfast Burrito Friday, keeping up the tradition of releasing episodes on a Friday so that way you can celebrate getting through the week, treat yourself to a breakfast burrito while you listen to the podcast. I mean, that's ideal for me, but do whatever you need to do, boo. I won't judge you. So yeah, long time no see. I'm so sorry that I took such a long break. I will really, really try to be better about it. I promise. But since I did take such a long break, let's catch up on what has been going on this summer. And I feel like my microphone, I feel like it sounds different right now. I don't know. I'm going to have to mess with some settings. I also have like my door open, which I don't normally do. Maybe that made the difference. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You don't care about that. Anyway. The one big thing over the summer that I did is I got tattoos with the boy, with my husband. And just to clarify, I know on this podcast, everyone is like, oh yeah, the boy, we know who that is. That's fine. But anyone new coming in, and it's been like so long since I've called my husband the boy on like the radio or anywhere else outside of this podcast. So I think I'm going to drop the boy. It's time. It is beyond time. We've been married like over 2 years now. He's my freaking husband. And it doesn't feel as weird to just say, yeah, my husband. I'm still a little bit getting used to it, but you know, that's fine. He's my husband. I love him. And his name is also Matt. So sometimes I call him Matt. And sometimes I also call him Mateo. I feel like calling him Mateo rolls off the tongue a little bit easier for me because whenever I say Matt, people, it just has to be like the way that I say it. I don't say Matt. I say Matt. And people are like, huh? Like what? Matt. So I've resorted sometimes to calling him Mateo. He does not mind that. He likes Mateo. I think his mom calls him Mateo sometimes. So we're sometimes going to call him Mateo, sometimes Matt, sometimes my husband. But yeah, that's that. So I did get tattoos with my husband, and no, before you freak out, they are not matching tattoos. I did not get his name on me. He did not get my name on him. None of that. So we just went and got tattoos together, which I thought was really fun. We had never really done that before, and that was a first for us. And we both got something that we have been wanting for a really long time. He had gotten an old tattoo touched up because that tattoo was like super faded. It was on his back. He never put sunscreen on it, and it was always exposed to the sun because he loves to take his shirt off, and I love that for him and me. And yeah, so his tattoo was just super faded, and he just got that retouched up, and it looks so good. Shout out to the tattoo artist. I forget the tattoo artist's name, but it's Tribe Tattoo in Denver on Santa Fe, and it's in the art district of Denver. And it was the artist there. It was a guy. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad not knowing his name, but he did a really good job on Matt's tattoo. It looks so good. For me, I got a tattoo that I have been wanting to get for a long time. I've talked about it on this podcast. I've talked about it on the radio. Everyone thinks I'm crazy for wanting this tattoo, but I decided, you know what? I'm going to pull the trigger and I'm just going to get this tattoo already because I've been talking about it for long enough, and I finally got Stabby Crabby. For those watching on Spotify, because Spotify has video now, or YouTube, I'm going to show it to you. Had to adjust so I wasn't flashing anyone, but it's on like my rib cage on my left side, and it's like a realistic style crab with a knife in one claw and a cigarette of some sort in the other claw. And I made stickers and pins that are a more cartoonish version of my tattoo, and I wanted it to be cartoonish for anyone that wanted to have a sticker or a pin or anything like that, so that it was somewhat different from my actual tattoo. I didn't want to put like the same thing on me, so my version is like a realistic style crab. There's a picture of it on my Instagram. It's a better picture of it, but the artist was Lainey at Tribe Tattoo in Denver, and she did a fantastic job. When I told the front office people like what I was wanting, they were like, Lainey needs to do that, and they knew her artistic capabilities, and Lainey killed it. So thank you so much, Lainey at Tribe Tattoo in Denver off Santa Fe. They're really awesome. Walk-ins welcome. This is like now a commercial for them, even though they didn't like I had to pay everything for my tattoo and everything like that. I've gone there, but previously my cousin had gotten a tattoo there. Am I talking into this wrong? That's why. Oh my God, I'm literally talking into my microphone wrong, and that's why it sounded weird. Okay. Jesus. Tell me you haven't done a podcast in a while without telling me you haven't done a podcast in a while. That's embarrassing. Okay, don't tell anyone. Okay. Anyway, so I've gone there before for other people. That was my first tattoo there, and they're just really, really good. So check them out if you're looking for a tattoo in Denver. Anyway, over the summer, I also, after living in this house for 6 years, I finally met all my neighbors. And we bonded over the fact that if you follow me on Instagram, I'm sure you know that for a solid month and a half, almost 2 months, I had a guy living in his trailer, living right like in front of my house, and it was a freaking issue. It was a big issue. I was not cool with it. He started a fire. The fire department was called. There were gunshots outside the house. Like, it was wild times. That's going to be its own episode of the podcast. The remainder of this season, we'll get to it. Maybe it'll be in season 4. I'm going to start season 4 as soon as we start 2025. So we're just continuing season 3 for now. But at some point, I am definitely telling you that story. I have video. I have audio. I had to talk to the police. It was a whole freaking ordeal. It was insane. So I'm excited for that one. We'll definitely put that on the podcast. But I did meet my neighbors through that experience because we were all like conspiring against this guy. We're like, we need to get him out. The city is not helping, yada, yada, yada. But that is how I got to meet my neighbors, more of them, because I know I've done a previous neighbor episode about like my direct neighbors that are right next to my house. I have 3 of them. And but I met a couple other neighbors, and that was its own thing as well. So, we'll talk about that when we talk about the trailer guy. But yeah, that was a whole experience that happened this summer. How fun. Of course, over the summer, as always, we're always working on this freaking house, I swear. And we did a lot more house updates. I am so looking forward to 2025 because we are nearly done with a lot of our house updates. Thank freaking God, because I'm so sick of staying in on my weekends just because we need to do stuff at the house. We need to do stuff to the yard. We need to do this and that. I'm so sick of it. The boy, oh my God, I just called him the boy. My husband, my husband knows that I am so sick of it, but it needs to be done. And he definitely leads the way in, okay, we're gonna do this and we're gonna get it done. We're gonna allot our money here and there because these are things that we need to do for our house and to make us comfortable, which I get. But also, I'm a brat and I don't want to stay in doing housework every freaking weekend like we have been for the last nearly 6 years. So I am very much looking forward to 2025. This coming spring, we are going to finish stuff up. We put in our privacy fence, which is awesome. We put in a cute little garden area and the fence is more professional, which is awesome. We're trying to fix up the grass situation. That's a whole thing. If you live in Colorado, grass doesn't really grow here, so it's its own issue. We're trying to get in some trees. That's another Colorado thing. Apparently, it's really hard to grow freaking trees here, and we are learning that lesson. But otherwise, the house looks good. We put in a back patio. We punched a door through our house to lead to the back patio in a better way. We put in some new concrete. We leveled the yard. We are getting a shed that is coming up this spring. The things we're finishing up is the shed this spring. And I can't wait. A hot tub. We're in the market for a hot tub. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But we're hoping to get a hot tub this spring. And then we're going to be done with the backyard. The backyard is going to be our own personal oasis. I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be beautiful and amazing. It already is so much more beautiful and amazing than it was when we first moved in. It was a piece of crap when we first moved in. It was bad. But it's so much better now. And it will be complete in the spring. And I'm so looking forward to that. And then we have a little bit to do to the front yard, some landscaping that we're going to do in 2025 as well. But that should be one weekend, one and done. That's it. So I'm very much looking forward to just being done with these freaking house updates. I mean, everyone says when you buy a house, you're just working on the house. There's always something that you got to do. Oh, and we got air conditioning this summer. It was amazing. It is amazing. It still is amazing. And yeah, we got air conditioning. Thank gosh. But yeah, so it's been a lot of stuff that's been going on. A lot of house updates, yada, yada. Nothing has changed from the last couple of years on that. But luckily, we're almost done. So 2025, the boy and I, oh my God, I'm calling him the boy now. Anyway. My husband and I are going to try to focus on traveling more, even if it's quick weekend trips, because I don't have a lot of vacation time with my job, but even if it's quick weekend trips to see family, to see friends that we need to go see, and we are just going to really focus on travel some more. We're finally going to take our honeymoon next spring as well. So I'm very excited for 2025. I just want to go. So if you know me on a more personal level and don't mind me crashing at your house, let me know, because that's what I'm trying to do next year. So let's plan it out and let's book a weekend. And this next episode is going to be a little bit short because I just wanted to catch you up on stuff briefly, because a lot of the stuff that I need to catch you up on are going to turn into episodes because, I can't live a normal life and have a normal experience. It always has to be something ridiculous that happens, and then we got to talk about it. So that will come this season on the Nina Blanco podcast. And I also, for 2025, really want to do more interviews. Not necessarily tell me about your job and what you do and the statistics. No. It's less interview style, and it's more inviting a co-host, maybe. Not a co-host, because I'm a solo host on those podcasts. But guests. I want guests to come in. And I want to talk about what do they want to talk about? It can be friends. If you are listening and you're interested and there's something that you're really passionate about, let me know. Go to my DMs, send me a message, say, hey, I would love to talk about this, or that. It could be literally anything. My cousin was out here a couple weeks ago, and we wanted to record a podcast together since she was here, but we just didn't have time. We jam-packed our weekend. But I told her, because we were watching a movie or something, and then I talked about like, oh, when you're a girl, like guys don't understand safety is so much different for girls. And like in every normal everyday things, like when I'm driving, if I'm driving and a car has been following me a little bit too long, like I always notice. And I was driving with my husband one time, and I was like, hey, let's go around the block because this guy behind us has been following us for a while. He's like, what? And I was like, yeah. He's like, how long? Like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh, I always pay attention to these things. And he's like, that is something I would never pay attention to. I'm like, that's because you're a man. Because you're a man. You're not a woman. You don't understand that, like, we literally, as women, have to live through things a little bit differently. We have to look at things so much differently. And so my cousin and I, we wanted to do an episode on that basically. And so eventually I'll get her on as a guest, and then we're going to talk about that, like the differences between men and women and how women have to adjust their lives because they are not safe around most men. And so stuff like that. But yeah, if you're interested in any sort of topic that's like that, or like social justice, or if you just want to talk about a certain celebrity that you like love, and I don't know, whatever, like let's talk about celebrity stories. Let's talk about whatever is going on. If you want to just be a guest and chit chat with me, let's do that. And I'll find topics for us to talk about, current events or whatever. So I really, really, really want to get more guests on here, a little bit more interviews, and just kind of do that for 2025. So if you're interested, please let me know. I have a couple people already lined up, but let me know because that's something that I really want to do to progress forward and move forward in this podcast. And I think it would be a lot of fun. We're already at the end of November, and we're almost at the end of the year. We're almost into 2025. And then in February of 2025 is obviously when I do Galentine's Day. I try to launch it at the end of January just to give me a little bit more time, since Galentine's Day is like halfway through February. And I think I don't know, man. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to switch up Galentine's Day. I don't mind doing the work in terms of collecting donations and then going out and putting together these baskets. That's like my favorite part of it. But like, I don't know. I just, with my job right now, and it does deal with money, not that I'm doing anything sketchy with that, of course. And like, I show you guys every step of the way of what I'm doing, but I think I'm going to switch up Galentine's Day. I still want to do it. I still want to fundraise for specifically Volunteers of America Irvin Street Women's Center, but I think I'm just going to have people donate directly to them. Hopefully you're comfortable with that. I think I'm going to have to test drive it. We're going to test drive it. I'll send you the link on where you can donate to them on behalf of Galentine's Day. But I don't know if I'm going to collect the money anymore, and it kills me to not make baskets. But to be honest, most nonprofits and most centers like this, they could really use that cash money donation more than these baskets. You know what I mean? And so like raising all of that money is fantastic, and putting together those baskets is amazing, and being able to deliver it to people who can use the stuff in those baskets is great. But that money for the baskets is better used going directly to the nonprofit, directly to the residents, to the people who are in charge, and then they can allocate that money to their resources. They're a nonprofit. They get discounts on stuff, and like way more than me. I'm buying things basically at retail price at the store, whereas they don't have to do that because they're an actual nonprofit, and the money would just be better served going directly to them. So I think Galentine's Day this upcoming February will be more like that, but we're going to play with it. We'll see. I hope that everyone who has donated in the past is comfortable enough to donate to the nonprofit directly. I did make a contact there last year when I dropped off the baskets, and so I'm going to talk to her and figure out what we can do. So Valentine's Day for 2025 is going to be a little bit different, just so you know. So if you're watching on YouTube and on Spotify, this is kind of the format that I've always done, and I've always kind of put up a list of things that I'm going to talk about in this episode. And the last thing on my list today is advice. And I'm not going to lie, I wanted to start up this podcast like a month ago, but like things got in the way and I couldn't. And I wrote all this list like a month ago, and I have no idea what advice means. I wrote this a month ago, and I have no idea why I wrote down advice. Do I want you to give me advice? Do you need my advice? Probably not. I don't know why I wrote advice. So, we're going to skip over that. Anyways, thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for catching up with me. I'm going to release new episodes every Friday. I know the holidays are coming up. 1 or 2 episodes might be missed during the holidays. Okay, I make no promises, but I really am going to try. I'm going to try, and I'm also going to try to be better at just like, if a holiday is coming up or I have a vacation next week, I'm going to try my best to actually be on my shit and record an episode ahead of time, schedule it out, because I have the abilities to do all of that. I just never do. I'm just a procrastinator, and I like to do things on a whim more so. But for you, for the audience, for a schedule, for trying to keep my promise in like actually being on top of releasing episodes every week, I'm going to try to do better. Okay, that is my promise to you. I'm going to try to do better. So wish me luck on that. Anyway. Thank you so much for listening to the Nina Blanco podcast. I miss you guys. I love you so, so much. Let's check out the Breakfast Burrito Friday song one more time. You know what it is. It's Breakfast Burrito Friday. Get your burrito. Get your breakfast burrito. It's Breakfast Burrito Friday. Get your breakfast burrito! It's Breakfast Burrito Friday! Thank you for listening. Next Friday, you're going to get a new episode. These episodes are released on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and more. Go get your podcast. I love you so much. Bye.